Baldur's Gate.
And speedrun. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Probo. I see you already in chat there, Michael. Welcome to another Monday night here at Probo. My name is Matthew, your somewhat bobble-headed, confused Dungeon Master for the evening. Before we jump into last time, as the first time in a while, you can see I have all of my friends with me this evening. So before we jump into it, quick shout out to a couple of our friends, Streamlabs and Twitch, Little Dragon Corp for our favorite northern neighbors, and Cardboard Castle Games from just about an hour and 10 minutes south of me in Georgia. You can put in ! Little Dragon and ! CCG. I see Michael already beat me to it. With Little Dragon, you can also use the discount code PROBONUS. Check them out. Again, you hear me shill for them occasionally, although I don't typically do it when I'm DMing because I don't want to be critting on my players too much.
Good.
But hey, definitely check them out. And we will jump into what happened last time. Our party had made their way home. Showed Murdoch around, found out Murdoch has her own room. Got some rest. Murdoch did a little research. We learned a little bit about at least two of this set of rings that our party has. Well, they know they have one in their possession, and they're pretty sure they have a second one. They also found a seventh room in between the two groups of bedrooms. Upon further examination, they found what appeared to be, I'll just call it a star map, as thanks to some quick thinking with Artemis and, I apologize, some bright flashes of light coming from outside my house. But quick help from Artemis and the speaking of a command word, Shirak, this stand, and I'm going to say this now to everyone, including my players, I apologize if I vanish. Because that bright flash of lightning, and now my house just shook from the thunder. So,
oh no.
If I disappear, well, I will let my players know that I'm alive, but
Thank
it
you.
means we lost power. So, just in case, everyone. But yeah, they found a star map, and as Art has activated it, the room went dark, and they saw the night sky, although it appeared not to be theirs. They saw three orbs slowly come together in a pattern they had seen before. A larger silver, a mid-sized red, and at first nothing. But then as they watched, a small black orb, like a swath cut from black velvet, slowly merged, creating the image that they had seen before of the three concentric circles. One might even call it an eye. While some of our party was studying this and moving around, our beloved Sarah decided to go poke around in the hallway and found a strange silver thread running across the threshold. Decided to give it a couple of yanks and didn't seem anything happen. Gave it one more yank and finally snapped it, which unfortunately caused the room to start to collapse in on itself. To quote one of my players, Art decided to be a baller, charged back, grabbed the crystal orb, and made their way out with it. The party managed to survive their own house. and that's where we pick up. Our party is sort of meandered around the house, gone to their different rooms, had a little space to cool off those who were a little more irritated given the situation or a little more studious-minded. And at this point, that's pretty much where we pick up, as all of you have sort of splintered away and had your own little moments. At this point, it's probably, I can't remember if you guys had dinner or not, or if you had made plans to get back together that evening, or if you were just going to wait until the next morning. I leave it to the party if there's anything any of you wanted to do within that same day, or if you just want to, fast forward to the next morning as you're preparing for your departure towards Candlekeep via Baldur's Gate.
Do you know what time we'd arrive in Baldur's Gate from here? Like, how many days?
Let me take a quick peek here and jump
Because I just
over.
want to know if I want to be preparing spells for the road or, for...
Oh, you definitely want for the road. This is not a one-day trip.
No,
Okay,
because
I want to
are we
prepare some
going
spells for the road.
down the river?
So you guys had a couple of different options that, and again, this was just, us spitballing ideas on how the party wanted to go. So you could go down the tradeway, down to Scornable, and then actually take a ferry down the river to Baldur's Gate. Or you can just, again, it's still going to be faster than walking, given that you guys have the carriage now. But you could just sort of cut a straight line through the Fields of the Dead towards Baldur's Gate as well. As that would realistically take you probably just about 3.5 days, depending on how hard you push the carriage. Where if you go the long way down, it'll take you about maybe about 2 days to get to Scornable, and then on the river, that's probably another like 4 or 5 days. So it'd probably take you the better part of a week if you followed the roads and went the river. But again, as those of you who've been traveling would know, that is probably the safer of the alternatives rather than just going where there are no paths, so to speak.
Where we're going, we don't need no roads.
I will remind
I'm
you,
concerned
they
about
are,
the carriage and the horses. As
Oh,
long
that
as they can
too.
do it.
they are called the Fields of the Dead.
This is true. It's probably called the Fields of the Dead for a reason.
Most likely. Superstition or not.
If that's the quickest way there, I think that's the way we should go.
I'm still concerned about the horses. I would choose the longer way. You're muted, DM.
What else is new? I just realized that. I will say, any of you who want, you can make a history check. Murdoch, I will give you advantage on it because you live in Baldur's Gate.
Thank you. She may need it. She's her history.
11.
Okay.
15.
Yeah.
21.
Wow.
Oh.
Yes, no move.
Okay. So, anyone who rolled over 15 or over, you would have heard of the Fields of the Dead and know that this was basically the hip new battleground that you showed up on if you wanted control of the lands north of Kalimshan. Mind you, it has been centuries since those battles happened. As you're traveling through, you can still find bones and basically remnants of people and battles and weapons throughout the area. As you get closer down towards Baldur's Gate, it is now used very extensively for farming and ranching. But plows still, even with how much they've sort of turned the land over at this point, they still turn up skeletons and rusting, damaged armor and weapons.
I don't like to call myself a superstitious woman, but there are many little children's rhymes and stories about going out into the fields of the dead and not coming back. I don't want to say that I am still scared like a little child, but they have an effect on you and you hear it most of your life. But
You're not superstitious, you're just a little stitious.
I am appropriately the right amount of stitious.
Mm.
But
I mean,
I'm
it's
not a
just
little.
an,
I'm not a little girl, and you are all very, very powerful. So I feel fine.
it's just an ancient battleground. That's all. I mean, unless
Wouldn't
we
we
think
get stuck
that,
in the mud? It's
yes,
not
I mean,
hard ground. Like,
I mean, if the carriage can't make it through, then I guess we can't go that way. But
I leave it up to you. I've gone through the city by road. I've come in on the ferry. I've come in on ships traveling up and down the Sword Coast. I've entered. I can tell you where we're going to enter the city. I can tell you what to expect.
Would you be able to tell us how much death there would be risking going through the said fields of?
I mean, you can try to travel through respectfully. I'm sure. The dead will do what the dead will do. Have you encountered undead before?
I want to say yes.
Maybe.
probably.
mm,
I mean, there was that worm stuffed person.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that was gross.
pretty.
Do the
I
goats count?
I mean, I'm not so
We
good
didn't
at
fight
cleric
them.
yet, but
I mean,
I am a cleric.
you indeed. So, between a druid to keep our travel safe and a cleric to keep the dead at bay, I think that it would be the safest journey through the fields of the dead that I've ever taken in my life.
Are we really in that much of a hurry? That it
It's not.
is advantageous to make a shortcut?
I would rather keep the horses safe with Furia.
All right.
okay then.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
It looks like you guys have your plan.
The ferry is very nice.
Okay, so is there anything anyone else has, or you guys preparing to ship out?
I guess we're getting on another boat.
I do
Well, it'll
love
be a
the
couple
book.
of days. You got to take the
We have
carriage
to
down
down.
first.
Right.
Get to the river, Frank.
Well, Furia, I gave you my translation on those rings, but if you want to discuss that while we're on the road, so that we can all talk about it, that's fine by me. If you want to get out and get moving.
Well, seeing as we just found another one of these things, I think it would be good for everybody to know about them. But, you and I have not had our one-on-one chat yet, like I'm assuming you've been doing with others. Maybe now would be a good time.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna peg me as such, then you're gonna peg me as such. That is true. I've been slowly working my way through. In that case, I suppose if anyone wants to get their things ready, and I'll just have a quick talk with Furia, and then we'll be ready to go and make our way to the gate.
Well, find some place to put this orb safely away.
Yes, that is very
Should we
good.
put this in the bag of holding?
Mine's still a little full. Maybe Murdoch's?
Mine is quite spacious. I've only filled it with maybe one row of books from the house.
What do you think, Art?
Sounds good. I mean, I was just going to put it into my room, but
I mean, if you want it there for decoration, by all means. But I was thinking, maybe
no,
move
it's not really a decoration thing so much as it might be very important. Probably is here, and they'll just kind of like give the orb to Murdoch.
Thank you. And I have not forgotten about our lessons. Those will begin toot sweet. Puts that in the bag of, I'll put the orb in the bag of holding.
So as looks like Murdoch and Fury are starting to head off, and Art's taking care of that. Lydia, Snowmoon, and Sarah, anything you guys would be doing, sort of to get ready?
Each and one of everything that Granny makes. She's making rations for the road. Just kind of standing in the kitchen, like, casting it.
testing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, probably making rations. That was the word I was looking for the road. Also, remind me, the gloves that I got from the Dragon Horde, those are invisible, but I'm wearing them, correct?
Correct.
They're invisible when wearing them. Okay.
Hmm.
So they don't cover anything.
Correct.
Oh, right.
Okay. I was trying to remember that. Yeah, gonna do some cooking, a little bit more used to
Granny.
the
You okay? Did you burn your hand there?
oh yeah. When you get something out of the oven or grab a
Just
little
all one for you. I'm a cleric, you know. I got to use some power, or else I'll go rusty.
no,
I can
think
heal you
of
a little up, Granny.
think of your spell slots. It's okay.
Doing anything for the rest of the day. Let me just take a look.
No, it's fine.
Oh, it's okay, Gran.
No, it's fine, Lydia.
Yeah, who's stronger? Here, it's okay. I'll take it.
I would like to do a strength contest with Lydia to get my hand back.
Okay, go ahead.
Really great.
Both of you roll a strength check.
Okay. Just strength. Alright.
15
No one's
altogether.
just watching this.
18.
Oh, she has a grip on you.
That's close though.
Lydia, the potatoes are getting overboiled.
It's fine. And I'll look at it. Does it look like a symbol? Yeah. I know.
No, it doesn't look like anything you recognize.
Okay.
It's
Then I'll just rub some aloe on it and give it
Granny
back to
up.
as you look at it, it looks like it's just sort of a weird sort of. But it's a bunch of straight lines to you. It doesn't really make much sense.
Oh, okay. Well, look, it just looks like got snared on something. You didn't even cut proper. And I'll just like rub some aloe on it or whatever I have and just
Oh, okay.
like, pat her hand and be like, it's okay. See, that was nothing, wasn't it?
Thank
Not to
you,
be-
Lydia.
Yeah, stop being so proud all the time. You can let your guard down with us, you know? It's just us. You don't have to pretend that you don't hurt and stuff.
You're very right, Lydia. Now, would you like a piece of the cobbler?
Of
You
course.
can try the
You
filling.
won't poison it now that I did that, actually.
I didn't
Good
even
choice.
poison any of you.
Okay.
So as some of you are able to hear some of this going on in the other room, you can hear a little bit of a racket, but again, you're used to hearing Sarah talk and
Lydia,
things going
Stop.
on. We will sort of pan back over to Murdoch and Furia. They're now sort of getting their little moment together.
Yeah, so I'd go back upstairs just to get away from the others a little bit.
Always with the stairs.
I'm sorry,
It's
I forget that I'm younger.
Getting the steps in. What did you want to talk about? Did you want to talk about my translations, or?
Well, I mean, as somebody who cannot read very many things that are usually written down, I think they're fine. But first of all, do you have any specific questions for me, or?
That's true. What you revealed during your explanation of the rings gave me a little bit more context for questions that I have had. You know, such as whether you thought this truly was your home plane or not. And it does seem...
That was a little odd earlier, yes.
It does seem, at the very least, that the majority of your life has been spent here. That if you were somewhere else before, it was when you were very young. Right?
Right, as far as I was told, I was dropped off as a baby in front of my human parents' door.
And just not by any person or anything, just on the doorstep, so to speak. They had no other information.
They had my name in a ring and me, and that's all.
Peculiar, to say the least. I mean, I think that your theory is not too far-fetched. And the connection to these rings is, I don't want to say concerning, but at least intriguing.
I'm really not sure what to make of it.
I suppose so. And then your abilities, your affinity for natural magics, was that something that was taught to you by your adoptive parents, or did you find that to be innate within you?
Well, growing up as the only elf in a human village is not always the easiest thing, so I left as soon as possible. I found solace in the forest, and basically everything I know just sort of happened, and I only found out what I can do. I mean, apparently I'm considered a druid, and I didn't even know what that meant before, or even I was one.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. As a woman of the city, I have not encountered many that followed the druidic path, except maybe I'm sure that there's been some that have passed through the city from time to time. What with my studies and dealing with extraplanar contracts, druids deal a lot with the Fae, and the Fae love to make deals, and they love to cheat people in those deals. I probably remember one client off in the past who's a bit of a portly fellow. He had an affinity for the stars and the natural magics. But aside from that, I do not know many druids. But they've always been a welcome addition when I have been able to speak with them. That being said, it seems I was hoping maybe that there was a connection to possibly your home, but that would be too simple. I'm not
That's
sure.
what I'm trying to find out.
Well, it would seem that perhaps any information for you is going to be tied to that ring. And it seems that it needs to possibly go back to where it was made, or at least where it was attuned to plainly, to be able to restore it to its original luster. I do not know if that means that you and the ring are from the same place, but that is a very good possibility.
Well, I'm connected with them somehow, and you're right, I'm still trying to figure out what exactly that is.
Have you given any thought as to why then perhaps you were left there? Do you think it was to protect you? The ring?
It could be. Could be the ring. It could be my parents were just in a place they weren't. I mean, yeah, protect me from whatever was going on. I have not really given it much thought. Having never met them or have any recollection of them, it's rather easy to forget that, they are out there somewhere, or they were out there somewhere at one point.
That is true. Perchance then, because I do not get a lot of moments to speak with someone with abilities different than mine, do you ascribe to circles? Is that what they're called? Certain types of tradition and areas of study?
Well, I mean, I like the moon a lot, but other than that, I'm not familiar. I didn't grow up in a druid community. Are those even things? Like, I just have these abilities, and for a long time I thought I was the only one that could turn into a different animal.
Well,
Other than the stories of were creatures I heard, but I can do a bunch of animals. Any animal that I can see, I can turn into, except birds. I will not turn into a bird again for a long time. That was not a good experience.
understandable. I mean, I've heard of at least very minorly about druids affiliated with the moon, that they can change form much like how the moon itself changes shape. And I just feel like you're going to be very... I don't like to reduce people to whether they're going to be useful, but I think that your abilities may end up becoming quite important moving forward. Affinity
Turning into
to-
different animals, it's actually very helpful.
Exactly.
People don't tend to notice a squirrel in the middle of the forest.
No, they most likely do not, nor a rat in the city streets. I think that when inevitably this party must once again begin to dally in realms not our own, having one that is so attuned to the natural world and possibly the elements, things that are very tangible, I think that's going to be very useful. But it sounds, unfortunately, to me like you've been going through most of your life just sort of by the seat of your pants, so to speak. Not without any real rhyme or reason. And for that, I apologize. It can be scary to go through life in such a unguided manner.
Well, most of my life I spent alone in the forest, just running with deer, eating with wolves.
And now you run with this group. Very different.
It seems like the best way to get what I'm looking for.
And what would that be?
Find out about this ring. That's basically what I'm all about, as the youngsters say.
Purpose is to find what happened, what to do with the ring, and what is the ring, and what is its
What
purpose,
is
what
the
its
ring?
connection to you?
Who am I? What is it connection to me? All
Those are
of
very
that.
big questions.
But I did want to let you know about one of my suspicions, I guess. I don't want to give the wrong impression because I might be wrong, but I think you're probably, as the newest member of our group, maybe a warning. Just with what happened recently, like a couple hours ago, I've very much do not trust Sarah any longer. She really, if put a certain slant on it, literally tried to kill 3 of us just now. In the past, you've heard about the truth serum incident, I'm sure, in the tea. She didn't tell us she was doing it, and just, I mean, to be honest, I've mostly eaten good berries since I can't trust anymore for cooking. She tried to sabotage when we were trying to question somebody by stabbing them.
Is that a
and
list
thanks
that
to
I
Lydia.
see you? Are you reading from a list right now?
She pulls out a list out of her pocket, yes.
I see. That is very extensive. It's dated and everything.
Is there
I
MLA
take good notes,
citation?
as you probably read most of what I've written. I have a good memory. I mean, you were there when she tried to take stuff from the vaults in Succumber, and I'm 90% sure that she actually did take something from innocent people after everybody else was like, no. She tried to break in, and you know this one as well, into the temple into Daggerford against everybody else's opinion that we needed to not do that. So, time and time again, it seems like she's gone against most of the party's opinion. She just tried to kill us. She tried to put stuff into our food. And so my opinion of her is quite low at the moment, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to trust her fully again. So maybe watch your back.
I always do. Anyone from Baldur's Gate worth their salt would. But that does bring to question then. I mean, as a legal representative, all of this is very concerning, and I do approach things from that manner first and foremost. However, as a fellow member of the party, I must ask then, per judgment of your character, why have you not made any action upon this? It seems that this is something you've decided for yourself, but keep it mostly private.
Well, not until a couple hours ago was I. I was just sort of chalking this up to happenstance, and
The straw
but I
that broke the
mean,
camel's back.
right. So maybe more legal advice, I guess. I don't want to. I don't want to call a false alarm, but maybe I should.
I think that you are a very, very observant person. And I think that you're not completely out of a realm of... I think that your assumptions have a hint of accuracy to them. With this warning, though, I believe I might need to reschedule my order of people that I need to speak with. Baldur's Gate may be an interesting application or test of character. I will take your words to heart, though.
She has tried to pickpocket many a person. Not a lot of successes, as far as I could tell. But yes, if your description of Baldur's Gate is true, which I believe it to be so, I've never been there, you can count on her getting into trouble.
Yes. Thankfully, Baldur's Gate is prepared for people of such nature. Now, I said, as a legal representative, these things that you've brought up to me are definitely concerning, but I would be remiss to then also add that as an older woman who has lived a very full life and has had wants and losses, to an extent, there is a great deal of believability to how Sarah acts.
We did all meet on a pirate ship. I mean, I'm not blameless, but there is a line that I have, and attempting to kill us all was a little bit over that, just a little bit.
Rightfully so. I believe that you are very kind as to say that that is only a little bit over the line. I think she's lost. I think that, from what I know of her, she is thrill-seeking to sort of fill a void that has been left, and she does not really see any means by which to fill it as of yet. That is not to say that thrill-seeking should be rewarded, especially when it puts others at risk, but I think she's having a little bit of a late life crisis, to be entirely accurate.
Well, she did take on several centuries, decades. Sorry, being an elf, they sort of get jumbled up. Age. Recently, and maybe that's contributed a little bit.
Well, it would be for a very brief moment. It would be for only a brief amount of time, unless I can get very creative with it. But I will tell you this. I have had a spell up my sleeve for quite some time. I have not needed to use it. But if it proves that this should be a continued issue, perhaps I may be able to begin to correct this behavior. I do not want to. I do not like to make people do things outside of the realm of what they could believably do. I do not like to control people. But I do like to keep people safe. That's all I'll say on the matter.
Very well.
That being said, if you would like to discuss the rings more, I think that would be something that would behoove us to do while we travel, so that if the others had any insight or questions, they could weigh in on it. But I'm happy that we had this talk.
I agree.
You're
Me
very
too.
sensible.
I try to be. If you're not, you won't survive, and that's something the forest taught me.
Very true. I will take my leave, let you get ready for whatever you may need to do, and we will speak again soon, hopefully. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, well, you're here and I'm here. Would you like that gold to put in your own bag of holding?
Actually, I would if you are offering, yes. Especially if we are going to be returning to my home. I do have quite a bit of philanthropic efforts that I like to contribute to while I'm there, and that would help a great deal.
Yeah, so I'll hand that over. It might probably take some time to count it all out, but
1,500?
that's 1,500 over to Murdoch's bag of holding.
So easy enough for you guys to take the time to transfer that over. At this point, Sarah and Lydia down in the kitchen, Sarah has done preparing the rations and everything with Lydia, sampling as things are going on.
Lydia, no more cherries. No more. No.
Please.
One more.
Thank you.
You're
As
welcome,
eventually
dear.
Snow Moon starts coming down and Art's coming down, and eventually the group of you sort of meet out in that main, entrance lobby at the front, preparing to depart for your first day's travel.
I'm guessing
Is this-
Feria will go on.
Is this
the-
after a long rest or the same day?
No, this would be the next morning. So you guys have got everything.
Okay, next
prepared.
morning. Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's either you guys could have had that conversation last night, or you could have had first thing in the morning, because you guys said you wanted to leave
I
the
just-
next morning. So,
Just wanted to know if I could reset my spells or not.
oh yeah,
That's all.
definitely.
Either way, it's fine.
Yeah, so you guys said you were departing in the morning. So whether either way, you guys are heading out. You guys have eaten. You're ready to go. You've got your.
Yep. I'd pull out the carriage, pull it up in front of the house.
Okay. Again, you've got that same hooded figure sitting on the coachman's seat. Horses seem well fed. Again, Fear, getting everything. You've got some grain and things in the sort of, we'll call it the trunk of the carriage, that little bin on the back of it. So you've got food and stuff for the trip.
Once everybody's in, I would ask the carriage to drive. I guess it's Trio. If I'm looking at the map here.
Yep. So if you're heading down to take the river, so it'll be down to. That is not the shipinger. You will be heading down to Trio down here. Then past there, it'll be down to Scornable. And then that's where you'll end up taking the barges down to Baldur's Gate.
We're gonna take the ferry past El Terrell. El Terrell is also very beautiful.
All right, we're on our way.
Okay.
I'm told to send to Avernus.
As soon as we sort of get on our way, out of the yard, I lean over and, Murdoch, if you would tell the others about what you read decoded in the book. I can hear up here.
All right. So it turns out that I was able to decipher some text in one of your many books that have a lot of text that is unable to be deciphered.
Art raises their hand.
Yes?
So, was it infernal? Is that what it was?
One of the passages was, yes. The other was seemingly close,
I knew it.
at least fairly close to abyssal. First off, does everyone know the differences between infernal text and abyssal text?
No.
All right.
No, I don't.
Of the lower planes, there is the nine hells, the range of various devils and fiendish folk. But below that as well, or below isn't necessarily accurate. Don't think of it as directions, but sort of butting against it is the abyss. This is the place where demons find themselves. They are different creatures, in fact, and they do not like each other. They have been at war since forever, or at least a very, very long time. So, very interesting then to find both their text in one tome. The texts therein were explaining more of these rings, like the one that we found, and possibly the one that Furia had already. These rings seem to be possibly related to different planes, such as the Abyss and the Hells, and seem to draw power and provide power that is related to those realms to the wearer. For example, one that would wear the Ring of Flame connected to the Infernal Planes would find themselves with very, very powerful destructive spells of fire and burning, wielding, in a sense, the magic of the Infernal against whoever you so choose. The Abyssal was a little bit stranger in that it seemed to be a ring that contained powers allowing one to transport themselves, either to move quickly or appear from one place to another in very quick succession. Spells meant to traverse distances great or small. It would seem, when these are called rings of power, that is quite literal. I could imagine that if one were able to have all of them together, they would be very powerful indeed. It makes me believe that perhaps the other passages are written in tongues similar to those two, and that they connect to different planes, such as the higher planes of the Celestials or the elemental planes of the Primordials, for example. And so, if we can translate the rest, we may actually be able to find what rings we are already in possession of and what powers they would entail without having to wear them. You know what they say about power. Power corrupts indefinitely, so best not to test it out.
That means that Furia, she is from another plane then. Would Furia have told us this by now? Did I miss that?
That was part of what I said over breakfast. Was
Okay,
that this
sorry.
So you
ring
were there for
Yeah.
that, yeah.
is the only thing connects back to who I am, possibly.
Kind of
So,
like my
yes, you would-
necklace then. We're the same. Although I don't know where my necklace is from either. So, we're both kind of lost there.
It does mean, perhaps, that this is at least an absorption or reflection of planar powers that can be used on the material. That being said, if it is a set of 7, then I do not necessarily know what 7 realms we could be referring to. I would imagine that if there was one, say, connected to the Feywild, that it would most likely be written in the language of the Fey, which I believe we have one, if not several people able to speak as such. And as far as I know, there is no draconic plane, so unfortunately, Snow Moon, you and I are SOL on that one. Or perhaps better off. I don't think I would
Yes,
like a plane of dragons.
Furia, have you ever been without it?
No, I mean, I didn't. It wasn't in my possession until a couple years ago, but I've always had it.
Do you know what you felt like without it? Like, if we took it away from you for a little while, like, would you feel different? Like, maybe you can do something
mean-
because of it that you don't know.
I mean, it arrived with me, but my parents didn't give it to me until
Okay.
a couple years ago.
I thought if it was
But
like
it's
you could
always
teleport
been-
somewhere instantly, you would know that that was missing if you tried to go.
I
do
mean,
that.
I might, but I really don't know.
Okay.
It doesn't really seem to do anything at all right now, actually.
Mm.
That is what I was able to decipher. It is a description of essentially what the ring is capable of doing for the wearer. I do not know if, for example, it should only be worn in the plane where it's from. All I know is I read about rings from very, very dangerous planes that are charged with chaotic and evil energy, respectively. And so perhaps those two aren't the best to wear. That's not to say that they are all as such. That is all I know.
Being a cleric, would I even recognize like things from either celestial or even primordial because I do Tempest? Like I know I wouldn't be able to read it, but would I recognize the actual like kind of
Probably
flow?
not.
Okay.
What languages do you know? I think you're just a common, giant, and
And Elvish.
yeah. So no, it's
Okay.
For player knowledge, the primordial alphabet uses Dethic or Dethicky, which is an older variant of the Dwarven alphabet,
Okay.
and Celestial has their own thing completely.
Okay. I didn't know if I had like Latin, Greek kind of thing. Like I can recognize that, but I wouldn't be able to see it like say it without the
And
holy text in front of me.
yeah, no, just based on the languages you know,
Okay.
these it would be like any of us trying to read hieroglyphs or
Yeah,
something like that.
squigglies. Yeah.
It's a wonderful little picture, but it's
Yeah.
it's a
It's
squiggly
a
line. It
different
looks like somebody
structure.
burned themselves in the oven.
Okay. Oh.
Hopefully, I may be able to secure us, and when I say us, I was primarily thinking Art and myself. A spell that would be able to help decipher the text. It's a very simple spell. I don't believe it would be something that would be illegal to purchase. So I'm hoping that maybe we can find some scribblings of it, and I believe that Art would possibly be able to make quick use of it.
Mm. Nice.
I'm always up for learning more spells.
That is what I like about you.
Hmm.
But until then, I think that we should enjoy our ride. And enjoy the ferry. I do like the ferry to Baldur's Gate. I do find it to be quite fun.
Is there room for a carriage on it, or at least somewhere to store our carriage?
Yeah,
With enough
some
gold.
of this, yeah, it's these. There are some smaller ferries that travel, but there are actual like large scale barges that will go up and down this river as well.
With enough gold, we should be able to take the cart right onto it, and they would essentially have like an on-ferry stable house. You can't imagine nobles are going to leave their carriage somewhere and then walk. Heavens forbid!
As you guys are making your way down, is there anything that anyone would be doing during this first leg of your trip heading down towards Triel?
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Watching the scenery.
So your first day's travel, everything seems to go fine. It's, decent day. Fear, you're noticing. Well, Fury, you being out on the roof, you're probably noticing this a little more than everyone else in terms of being out now. You had a little bit of a feeling of it traveling back down from Daggerford home, but now being out again over the first 2 days of the first day's travel, it's a lot warmer here than it was when you were on the boat. First
Uh,
day. Oh, go ahead.
I'll just relax in the warm breezes that I'm getting on the roof, not
That's
having to breathe in everybody else.
Yeah, it's definitely sort of got that feeling. Um, just sort of as the sun is out, when it gets to be about midday, it's definitely warmer. It's you'd be worried about being in the carriages, little whiffy, with
the,
5
the
people
sun
in there.
overhead at noon is almost straight above instead of at an angle. That sort of idea.
Yeah.
All right.
So as you guys make your first day's travel, would you be pushing through? You stopping for the evenings?
I think we should.
Should what?
That we should stop or push through.
Oh, sorry, stop.
Do you
I think
want
we
A or
should.
B? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I think we should stop for the evening, yes. Give our horses a rest. Stretch our
Fine with
legs
that.
a bit.
Okay. So would you guys be setting watches as you guys are?
Mhm.
Okay, so
I'll
who
take
would be
first,
Okay, we got
since it'll be lighter.
Lydia taking first.
I wonder if anything else will fall out of the sky this night.
I'll take second or third since it's darkest. Then I got night vision.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take one of those too.
Okay. We'll give Art second and Fury a third, and who wants fourth?
I'll take fourth.
Okay, and Snowman fourth. Okay, so do me a favor, all 4 of you go ahead and make perception checks for me.
13.
Okay.
17.
17,
15.
15.
19.
Okay. Okay, so first watch seems to go by without a problem for you, Lydia. The sun starts to creep down a little bit. A nice peaceful evening, You guys are, just a little ways off the cart path in case people are actually pushing through the evening. Your watch comes to an end. You wake up Art. Art, the first hour of your watch goes by. You don't notice anything at all. About an hour and 15 minutes into your watch, a little ways south of you, traveling from west to east, you see a somewhat brightly glowing light. It's probably about 100 feet away from you.
Do I recognize it as like a torchlight or a...
I will say, given Art's given your sort of aptitude for certain types of magic, you would recognize that as a very obvious open flame.
Okay. And you said it's moving?
Yep. It is moving somewhat rapidly. It looks like somebody is moving at pace.
And it's not coming towards us, it's more or less
No,
like
it's
looking... It's...
going right like this. It's as you're making your rounds and you turn and you're walking, back facing south along this tradeway. You see this snowball and you can see it just moving across, like it's coming from the fields and it's gonna cross right across the tradeway heading towards the east.
Okay, I'm gonna regret this. I'm going to kind of sneak along and see if I can get close enough to kind of figure out what or more about the situation, at least so I can get a kind of read on who is holding said open flame.
Oh,
Are they
okay.
being chased?
So
Are they
as
being
you
chased? Oh gosh.
as you said you're sneaking, go ahead and make a stealth check for me.
I'm not good at that. No, 7.
Okay. So as you start making your way up, and you get again, they're about 100 to 150 feet away. So you take your time a little bit as you can see them getting closer to the road, and you're starting to sort of inch along. Go ahead and make a perception check for me, as you're now getting closer and trying to see what you're looking at here.
The 17.
Oh, okay. Perfect. So as you get probably about 75 feet away from this thing, you notice that the first thing that hits your mind is this is not a torch. This is much too bright.
Oh, okay.
As you're watching a little closer and this individual starts getting even a little bit closer to you, you notice what appears to be a goblin. Completely ablaze. Not screaming, not making a sound,
That's terrifying.
just running. Doesn't seem to notice you.
I don't have any way of putting the fire out without probably killing it. Probably doesn't understand common. Tell it to stop, drop, and roll. Is nothing's chasing it? It's just like going full ham, just like running.
It is just sprinting.
Oh god.
And again, what's odd to you is you're looking at this thing. It is complete. It literally looks like somebody doused it in gasoline and lit it on fire. And it's just running without making a sound. Not screaming.
I mean, the fire and the oxygen can't scream. Oh boy. Can I cast Tidal Wave?
I don't know, can you?
I mean, I have it prepared. Is
What's-
in such a way to, I don't know, not kill him, them,
What's
but
the range on it?
certainly try to. Oh yeah, that's true. I might have to get closer. Oh goodness. No, I don't. 120 feet.
There you go. So yeah, you can do it if you want to.
I sure do.
Okay.
Not so the full the bulk force of this thing is just coming crashing down on this tiny little goblin, but I don't know.
Can you use like your spell shapes that it doesn't hurt it?
So basically, it
That's
sounds
what
like
I
what
was
you're trying to
thinking.
do is more like you want it to crash down. It sounds like sort of in front of him.
Yeah.
And so he just sort of gets, like if you're a kid standing on the beach, the wave crashes right in front of you and you get soaked.
The spray.
Yeah.
But you're
Yeah,
not
the
getting,
sea spray.
yeah, you don't take the wave to the face. Sure, I'll say go ahead and make an intelligence check. And because of your school, I will give you advantage on the check. It's just to see how well you're able to sort of shape this. Because you're
Next level, I get shape water art. Give me a team.
Okay. That is good, because, oof, I don't want to keep throwing tidal waves at everybody.
Yeah.
sure you do. It's fun.
I mean, you know. 21.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so as you call this wave in, and you're watching as he's running across and this wave is sort of coming up That's what I'm looking for. Perpendicular to him. So he's running this way, and the wave is coming from this way, from the south. And you watch as it's building behind him. And then crashes down, and as you hear the... and it starts surging towards him and spraying up. You see the face... He actually stops running and turns. And you watch as the spray just hoses him. You watch as sort of tumbles down in the water and rolls a little bit. And you can just hear his steam and hissing, and it's this cloud starting to rise.
As soon as it happens, I'm like ducking down, like I don't want to be seen in case I accidentally did a bad.
Go ahead and make another stealth check as you're trying to hide again.
Would any of us notice a giant tidal wave?
You can all go ahead and make a perception check if you'd like. You will all have disadvantage because you all are all technically asleep.
I got 12.
I rolled a nat 1.
Oh, I rolled a 20 on my first roll.
I
got a
also
19.
rolled a 20 on my first roll.
Dirty 20.
16. 16, so it's
Okay.
still not too bad.
Oh wait,
11.
disadvantage.
Yeah, disadvantage.
Yeah.
14.
Okay, and Fury, what was yours?
19.
Okay, so Snowman, yours was a 16?
Correct, yeah.
So any of you who rolled over a 15, you can hear what sounds like, again, some sort of like crashing of water. You were all on the boat long enough that you would recognize the sound of like strong, heavy waves.
I can cast this spell, so I probably be like, did I cast this in my sleep? What's going on here?
I jump up, like, because I know we're still, like, what, another day or so from the river?
You're probably closer to
Not
like...
supposed to be water.
Yeah, you're probably closer to like 2.5 days from the river. at this
Okay,
point.
yeah, so I'm like, where's that? That's water. Where's that water coming from? I'm just kind of.
I'm patting myself to see if I'm wet. Like, no, I didn't do that.
You would also... both
Snowman,
places
you
look at
heard
around.
that too?
Yeah.
One of your friends
Did
is
we?
missing. You don't see Art anywhere. Art, as we're
Art
gonna-
was supposed to be keeping watch, weren't they?
Yeah, I don't see them.
Oh dear.
Art, as
Which direction was the sound? I'm heading in that direction stealthily.
Go ahead and make a stealth check for me. And Art, what's your passive perception?
15.
Okay.
$18.
Okay. So Fury starts creeping down. We're going to jump over to Art for a moment. Is you can start to see the steam is starting to dissipate. And as the steam starts to clear, the goblin is still on fire.
Oh no.
As you watch as the thing sort of picks himself up, looks around a little bit, and then takes off running to the east again. Fury, as you're starting to sneak up, you can see what looks to be basically picture having a candle in just like a cloud of steam. So you can see this almost like mist or steam starting to dissipate in this brightly glowing flame. And all of a sudden, it takes off running to the east.
Maybe that's what Art saw. I'm gonna call softly. Art? Art, are you out here?
Yes, just give me one moment. I'm sure you would see the pink hair before you saw the rest of me, but
Well, I do have dark vision, so it's probably like bright gray.
yeah, I guess I'll kind of like make my way back.
How far away is this thing on fire at this moment?
So it was about 75 feet from Art, and then started around, so it's probably at this point, give or take about 100 feet from you.
All right. Art, do you think it's worth going after that thing? What is it, by the way?
It's a goblin and it's on fire, but it doesn't seem too bothered about the fact, which is weird.
I wonder
I'm
where it's
s-
going.
I'm sorry I woke you up. I didn't mean to, but I tried to put it out. It didn't work.
I wonder where it's going.
It's
I'm
not
going to run
forward,
after
but-
it.
Oh gosh.
Um,
Okay.
I'm just going to. I'm not going to do this stealthily because I don't know if I would be able to. And I would keep running until I get within 60-ish feet and attempt to hold person on the goblin.
Please be careful.
Oh, okay. Art, what are you doing? As you watch as Furia takes off running after it.
Um, I can't catch up at this point. I don't think.
No, probably not.
No. I'm just gonna. I will. I'll watch and see what happens. If something bad happens, then I can eventually make my tiny legs move. But you know,
Okay. And Snowmoon, what would you be doing?
And yeah, so when Furia started the stealth, I would have just stayed at the camp since I can't really stealth very well. But once they met up and started to talk, would I have noticed that, or could I not see them?
You would have noticed the two sort of dark shapes,
Okay.
and then all of a sudden the bigger one just takes off running, and you lose sight of it into the darkness.
Okay, yeah. So I'll walk up to where I saw the two dark shapes, and now one.
Eventually, you catch up and
Let's
you
see.
find Artemis.
Oh, Art, there you are. Are you all right?
I'm fine. I'm sorry. Did I wake everybody up? I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. What happened?
Feria has gone after this goblin that seems to be on fire. I tried to put it out. That was the big crashing wave. But then it just kind of poofed back on fire, and I'm just kind of waiting to see what happens, honestly.
It's this goblin's still alive. It's just on
Yeah,
fire.
it doesn't seem to be very bothered about the fact.
I don't know.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't know what that could be.
Okay, so Fury, about this time you have caught up, or you're within 60 feet of the goblin. As you're trying to cast your spell on it.
Yes, it's a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. And what's your DC?
14.
Okay. Oh, -1. But he is still going to beat it with a 16.
This thing never works. I should just not ever have this spell prepared because it never works. If when that fails, I'll keep running after and try to sort of get in front of it and just make myself known because I just want to know what's going on.
Oh, okay. So is your charging after, and what's your
I got 35 feet of movement,
Okay.
and I'd be dashing.
So this is yeah, so you are basically each round you're getting a little bit closer to it. So you're running for about another 30 or 40 seconds before you manage to actually catch up to this thing. Because it's running, you're going 70 feet, it's going 60. And eventually, as you get close enough to it and you see it running, it sort of turns and looks at you. And you don't even have to make a perception check, given that you can see this thing is just completely enveloped in flame. As it turns and looks at you, you see it's on the front of its mouth. It looks like almost like white paint with just vertical lines drawn over the mouth. You also would notice it's a little easier to see because of the white lines drawn on it. It looks like the lips are actually sewn shut.
Well, it's not the first time I've seen that in my life, unfortunately.
What?
The rat, were-rat.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh boy.
I'd sort of just like, is it looking angry at me? What's its perception of me?
It's very hard to read, as you've never really run into a goblin that looks like it should be burning to death, but it's just, out for a midnight jog. It glances over and sees you, but it doesn't really seem to pay any mind. Just looks over and then looks back and just keeps running. Doesn't seem aggressive, doesn't seem afraid, just...
Unaffected, unconcerned. I'm just gonna go, like, run through all my languages and just say, like, hi, just to see if it reacts. So Common, Druidic, Elvish, and Sylvan, and just run through all of them.
Yeah, as you're running through, it doesn't seem to react.
Darn it, I need to learn how to speak Goblin. Well, I'm going to see if I can, I'm keeping up with it as this is going on, and I'm going to see if I can run in front of it and just, like, hold out my arms like, stop, just to see if it does anything, or if it runs into me and I catch on fire too.
Okay. So as you, again, at this point, take another round to just get a little in front, sort of swing in front and throw your arms out. And it is actually... basically hit just very sort of nimbly as it's running at you. You just watch as it just sort of ducks down. And you do get the sensation as this creature passes, as you put your arms out to stop it, it just sort of dives under your arm and keeps running. And you can feel the heat in the flame lick up the side of your body. And doesn't do any damage to you, but you know if you were to run over and tackle this thing, this is probably gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's not fake fire, it's real hot stuff.
It's definitely really on fire.
Why isn't it being... Well, I'm not wanting to kill this thing, not until we know more about what's going on here, if anything. I'm gonna start running back and just I'm gonna look to see where it's going. Is it going in fairly a straight line, like beeline towards?
It is running almost pretty much due east. It ran perfectly perpendicular with the path.
All right, so I'm gonna take a note on exactly where it's heading, like where it's been, where it's heading, and then I'm gonna run back to the camp.
Oh, okay. So
I'm going to do a burning hands, like off and on, couple times just to, show where I am.
Oh, okay.
That I'm okay.
Make a survival check for me. Because it was easy to
sorry, what was that?
Make a survival check for me, as you've been sort of sprinting off for a ways.
Math, that's a 21.
Oh yeah, you're fine. It only takes you a couple of minutes to get back. And again, you guys start to notice as you can see the small speck of light getting further and further away. Eventually, you start to see a smaller sort of gout of flame popping up every so often.
Oh, sorry, it was produce flame, not burning hands. Yeah, just, what the druids do.
I should remember these things. So eventually you see this a small glowing flame appear. You've all seen Fira use produce flame before. But eventually she makes her way back over to you guys.
So, I mean, what's going on? Did the goblins say anything, or what?
All right, first of all, heading in a straight line, no deviation. So I don't know, it has a purpose, knows where it's going, or it's just going that way until it hits something. It's definitely on fire. The fire is definitely hot. No, I did not tackle it. And it's a goblin, and it has white lines painted over its mouth vertically, but its mouth is also sewn shut. But the other thing is, it wasn't
Really?
aggressive. It wasn't aggressive, and it was just very impartial, neutral, just doing its thing, being on fire, heading east.
Like it didn't look like it was actually getting like burned at all, other than the fact that it was just on fire.
It seemed perfectly calm. Perhaps, I mean, its flesh wasn't decaying as far as I could tell. But I mean, I was close enough that the fire was definitely very hot and very real. Perhaps magical, I'm not sure. So, I didn't think it would be of any benefit to kill the thing.
No, I mean, yeah, Art, was it like headed towards our camp at all, or you just happened to see it run past?
It's just going past.
Happy to see it run past. I figured I'd try and help, but now we just have a lot of questions, not many answers. Maybe we should.
Maybe we'll talk it over with the people in the morning instead of waking up more people.
Yeah. Maybe Baldur's Gate has a problem with on-fire goblins? I don't know.
I don't know if we're close enough for Baldur's Gate for them to have the problem.
I don't know how long this thing has been running and on fire.
True, yeah. It could be from Baldur's Gate. That's a long ways, though. But I'm going back to bed. You wake me up in 20 minutes for my watch. 10 minutes.
Sounds good. I will do so, unless there's another fiery goblin.
Maybe we'll have to wake up everybody if that's the case. Or maybe it's coming back the other direction. I don't know.
Yes, we don't really have a lot to go on right now.
No, might as well not.
I'll climb back up in my tree and. Oh, sorry, Art. I didn't realize. Maybe I shouldn't be sleeping up here. Make it curl up on the ground instead.
I mean, I can figure out ways to get you out of the tree, but yes, probably.
Yeah, I'll head back to camp as well.
So as the rest of you head back, the rest of the night seems to go nice and smooth. Art wakes up Furia. Furia wakes up Snowmoon. Snowmoon, as the sun starts to creep up, you notice there looks to be some clouds rolling in from the west. Probably going to be a little overcast today. Not quite as sunny as it's been, but eventually the party wakes up and the day is yours.
Right away.
Anybody want a good berry?
No, I'm good, thanks.
I'll toss one down. Blueberry land. Yeah. Just the blueberry does. Today's blueberries, I guess.
It's just so easy to chew.
Actually, what I should have done, I'm going to say right here, what we'll do is, while you guys are starting to get ready for breakfast, we'll take our break here, because I just realized it is 9:30. So rather than
Oh my god.
letting our party start diving into this and then breaking it there, we'll say we're going to take a couple minutes right here. So we'll be back in just a few moments, folks. Don't go anywhere, as our party is going to try to explain something they don't understand to the rest of them. Or at least, maybe. We should be back in just a few moments. Stay tuned, folks. welcome back, everybody, as we're still... Hey, there we go, now we're all back. Welcome back to the second half of Monday night here at Proficiency Bonus. Our party is currently on their... starting their second day's travel to get to Baldur's Gate. They had an interesting experience last night with a strange flaming goblin that didn't seem to care it was on fire. Our party has woken up. They've just started having breakfast. Furia and Murdoch have had their good berries. And party, and so the day is yours.
So, while chewing on my good berry, we had a strange encounter last night for those who slept through the night.
Did
Art, you want to...
another ring fall from the sky?
No, Art, I think, was the first one to spot it, right?
Yeah, sort of wishing I hadn't at this point, but we, Furia and Snowmoon and I tried to help a goblin on fire, just fully on fire.
All right. I mean, good for you for trying to do that.
Did you put it out?
Nope.
No.
But where is it now?
So I woke up when I
Red?
heard...
Is
It
it
just
dead?
kept going.
No, it
We
was
need to
So
hold
I-
it
it.
was running, and it just
It
kept
was
on running, and just ran until it was out of sight, and we couldn't stop it.
I woke up to the sound of water hitting the ground, and came across Art in a large wet puddle. And I assumed that Art, you tried to do like a tidal wave or something to put him out.
Yes.
And so I ran after this poor fellow. He didn't seem afraid. He didn't seem in pain or aggressive, or he just wanted to keep running the direction he was running. But the
So
disturbing thing is, right, he had vertical white stripes over his mouth, but his mouth was also sewn shut.
Ooh. Creepy.
So I'm really not sure.
Could've
I
been
mean, I
lights
took
on
note of the
fire.
direction he was running. But I have a feeling maybe we should just go and investigate what's going on. 'Cause that's just
I say
unnerving.
we don't go sticking our nose into business where we don't want it sticking right now. We got enough
Well, I
things on our
mean,
plate.
he came by, and I tried to help.
Oh, I guess if you think it'd be good of us to do like a warning flag kind of thing, for us to go investigate, we should. I'll defer to you two.
Well, I'm interested to see why somebody would make a goblin on fire, sew his mouth shut, and send him running across the plains.
I mean,
That's what I don't want to know.
Ugh. Is this a thing?
I mean, we don't even have much to go on other than the direction they ran in, but
Which was which direction again?
anyway.
That way. And they point east.
East.
Yes, east.
And they came from that way, and they point west.
Well,
West.
to be fair, going east would probably mean, because we're on our way to Triel, you may be hitting the Reaching Woods. But the person that made it on fire would ideally be where it came from, not where it went. In which case, west is still progress towards Baldur's Gate. It's a little bit of a flip on our plans, so to speak. It would be going into the plains, but we would still technically be on course.
Well, I'm not sure if there's another one. And this thing seemed very calm, like it had a purpose in running where it was
Where-
going.
Whereabouts
Pain,
are
fire.
we on the
No,
way
and
to
it-
the ferry?
I don't think we've even hit Triel yet.
Yeah, you haven't hit Triel yet.
Okay.
So you guys are.
So it's more towards the hills, Triel to hills, than.
Yeah, you're probably let me
That's
grab my
true.
little marker. You are probably like right around here.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you're not that far from Triel, but at the same point, Triel's not like a massive city like the Gate, like Daggerford.
Neat.
No, I did not want to draw more.
Does that do you know what that? You've taken this road before, right, Murdoch?
I guess I sort of implied that, probably. I mean, the Tradeway is a pretty well-traveled road. I would say maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
Why?
if you weren't magicked up, it would have been either somebody sending you or taking that way to get to Daggerford. So
Yeah, so 100% yes, I've traveled the
You know
Tradeway.
what that mound is in the west? Is that like a ritual site or something, or just a mountain?
Oh, just off of El Terral?
Yes.
Do I know what that mound is? I think it's just a big
Mound.
hill.
yeah, it's
Okay.
basically just an oversized hill.
All right. So I want to make sure.
Just a big hill.
Have
as
any
far as I'm
sinister
aware.
connotations for this goblin?
No. Just because they're the fields of the dead, it's not necessarily like people are out there doing magic all the time. It's more so that there's a lot of dead people in it. From the past.
More literal than. More literal than,
Right.
dead people on the ground, in the ground.
Just battlegrounds. That's all.
If you wanted to raise an undead army and take over most of Faerun, you'd probably start there, but who'd want to do
Faerun's too much of a mess. I don't want control of it.
that?
Stop giving the DM ideas.
Friday.
If
I'm not-
someone raises the entirety of the Field of the Dead, I'm just gonna go to the Moonshay Isle. It's mine.
We all know
Those
the
are our
undead
mess
can't
too.
swim.
We've been there.
I'm not too concerned about this goblin in regards to our sort of current objective. I'm just saying that if somewhere along the way we're doing things and someone happens to either mention a goblin on fire or goblins with paint or something along those lines, I want to know more, but I'm not too concerned about going out of my way at this point.
I mean,
It's not a
this happened
security
last.
problem.
This was hours ago.
I agree.
So
Yeah.
Yes, I
it's
mean-
quite gone.
Yeah.
Yes, we tried to do what we could in the moment, but I don't know if we need to spend too much more time focused on this. But
Then we
Well,
continue
it's
to
not
the
a
ferry.
security problem that I'm worried about. It's
no,
the
it's,
why, and it's concerning that somebody would have the power to do that, and where was it going, and what was it doing? That is more concerning to me than the actual goblin itself.
First try going east for a little bit, just in case we see something for you, or
I mean, it's fairly flat. I mean, I probably have to go quite a ways.
probably
I
into
would
the
say.
woods.
I would
Well,
say
flat up into those hills over there.
Oh, okay.
either if we were go from where the DM drew the line, if we went due east, we would hit the woods, not Triota Hills.
Yeah.
So, but the cart isn't going in the woods, so I mean, you could.
At this point, I feel like we should just go to Triel, see if anybody knows anything. If not,
That's true. We could ask around Triel.
could
It was close
decide.
enough.
That's
What to do,
true.
that's true.
if we're on the ferry and we're up and we happen to see more goblins running along the riverside, then I'll be a little bit more interested and worried.
Are we?
All right. I just hope I
Are
don't have to say, I told you so.
You're probably going to
we
get say I
Haunted
told
reality.
Are we also sure that this goblin wasn't a ghost?
There are lots of
Pretty
ghost
sure.
stories from the fields of the dead, but
Well, did you
I-
touch it, Furia?
Pretty much. I mean, Art did knock it down with water, as far as I can tell.
Yes.
It was kind of wet-ish.
It did
Well, I mean,
douse the fire, but then it kind of whooshed back up.
Hmm.
Did you
So
try
that
putting it out
bottles-
magically, or
I
Well, the
don't have a
water was
thing
with
for
the
that.
magic water.
oh, I do.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Uh,
Woke me up.
I would ask you this, Furia, because I definitely would like to avoid anyone giving me an "I told you so" situation. That sounds
too.
dreadful. If we were to investigate it, would you have us go where it went or where it came from? If we
would
were
go-
to.
I would probably go see if it ended up in the woods. But if it went farther than that, I see on the map that we got, there is a dot for a something past the woods.
Right.
Seems might be headed in that direction. See if people saw it, if there's even people in that dot. I'm really not familiar with this area, and I mean, I probably wouldn't go farther than that.
Farther than the dot beyond the woods,
Farther
or farther
than
than the edge
past-
of the woods?
Farther than past the woods, but I would also, what does that say? Hard buckler?
Yes.
Yes.
That was sort of in the direction. See if it went through there, and then. But I don't think we should go much farther than that.
Is there any burning marks on the ground, like from the ground singe from the heat?
If we like go over
Really?
there.
Yeah, from where you are right here, you can't tell because it's a good probably 100, 150 feet away. You could go over and take a look if you'd like to.
Yeah, I'll go over and take a look at what they were talking about, where they were singing.
Okay. So as you're, sort of walk down the path down to where it is, immediately you start noticing where the ground starts to get a little squishy and you're stepping down, the water sort of being pushed back out from where the wave hit. In that little stretch, from that point heading to the east, for at least a good little ways, you don't notice anything. Where
okay.
it was coming from the west,
Yeah.
you do see actual little singed, almost footprints.
Alright, so Fury, it would be
you're-
easy enough for you to track.
But you lose that
I-
heading east
Oh,
because
I'm
the
not
ground
worried
was
about
wet.
tracking it.
okay.
Now it may pick up again.
I
a
know
little
which
ways
direction
more.
it was running.
I mean, yeah,
Looks
we
like
could.
you've got to the woods.
I mean, we could head that way till we get to that town just beyond the woods, if you want. And
I think we should. Too.
All right.
and
I'm not going to object.
What are you? Are you just curious? What are you planning on?
Pretty much just curious and wondering if it has a large. I mean, lots of these things we've run into so far are not just one and dones. They have something else connected to them that we're not sure about, and I want to know more about this particular one.
All right.
Very well.
Baldur's
I'll
Gate
get
isn't
on
going
top of the-
anywhere.
It's true. Although stranger things have happened, I'm sure.
In Baldur's Gate, yes. Probably. Tumultuous history.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if there's a manual mode on this cart.
Push the coachman. Move over. I'm driving.
But if possible, I would direct it. I mean, I don't know if I would think it would be okay for the cart to go over this ground either. But if possible, I would have it go in the same direction as the goblin.
Okay, yeah, you can
Recalculating.
you can definitely take over and sort of steer it that direction. Go ahead and make an animal handling check for me.
23.
Oh,
I'm pretty
yeah,
good with
so-
animals.
And you don't seem to have any problem getting them to do what you're looking.
It was
Okay.
that evening that I spent with them, that really helped.
Yeah, that little time, brushing them down, making sure they were fed properly. Definitely helped. But yeah, easy enough for you to get them moving. And eventually you start heading this way. So are you heading basically straight towards the forest, or are you sort of angling a little more north to head to Hardbuckler?
I would start following the tracks, and if they headed straight into the forest, maybe go around the edge of the forest until you get to the town.
Oh, okay.
And
So,
tell the party I was doing that, see what they think as well. If they have any objections or better ideas.
That's a good idea too.
yeah, so
Alright.
as you're starting along, and again, that first probably like 50, 60 feet, it's very difficult to see anything. But again, as you were chasing after it, you do manage to pick up where you had left it. And you do see the tracks are heading off that direction almost straight towards the woods. And follow it for a little bit of time. And eventually get to the outer border of the forest. And you can see that the tracks seem to run right in. You do notice a couple of singe marks on some of the like smaller, I guess I'll call them smaller plants, as it seems like this thing just kept on running through the forest. So
Let's see if it comes out the other side.
Okay,
Go around.
As you start sort of steering it around, and eventually you start getting, give me a second here, pull up my notes on this one. Okay, come on, system. Okay, so as you start turning this corner, let's bring you over here, you start to see a very sort of a small, almost, it's a strange sort of image, this small town you're coming across. As you can see that there is a lot of smoke arising from chimneys for various different buildings. But it has that sort of like a cross between like an industry center and businesses and factories. And just this really sort of quaint small town. As you start,
Well, guys,
go ahead.
we're here.
Want to go and ask some questions then, or should we just check out the area first?
Maybe we could park and I could go check out tracks, see if they come out the other side.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And do we see anybody like moving about the town at all?
As you start getting a little closer to this location, you actually do. And you see it is a rather large population of gnomes.
I look at
Woo!
Artemis.
Oh boy.
Anyone you find familiar? You have any family on this side of the ocean, Artemis? Don't know why I'm going.
I'm going to
have,
pull up to the reasonable, like maybe 50 meters yards away from the town, and I'm going to get off the top and just pace the edge of the forest, looking for burnt marks, but not go in. Just run off. Yes, I'm just running off.
Okay, so you guys watch as sort of Furia pulls the cart over, jumps down, and starts taking off running along the edge of the forest. What would the rest of you be doing?
I'm gonna keep asking Artemis if they know anyone in this town. Do you recognize anyone? Anyone that looks like your father at all? Or do you have
what does it have to do
grandparents?
about my dad? I
Mm,
don't
you-
know.
But did everyone live on the island? There might be some mainland relatives. You know, you can always find someone you know somewhere.
Just because they're gnomes, or
No, in general, you can always find someone you know somewhere. You see, my Albert, when we used to travel, he would always seem to find either an old classmate or a teacher or a student, and it would be a whole thing. And it'd be, how do you know someone from every part of Faerun, Arthur? And he would
Furia's not there, but somehow she senses this is going on back at the garden.
Yeah. Uh-huh. I'm gonna walk away.
Okay. Lydia's escaping. Murdoch,
Yeah.
what would you be doing?
Well, Murdoch doesn't really know necessarily. I'm not the one to go and just question people. I'm going to stick with
Yeah.
Sarah, actually. I feel like most people avoid going with Sarah. So I will stay with Sarah.
Okay, and Snowmoon, what would you be doing?
I'll start to drift towards, closer to this town and start to approach the nearest citizen, I guess.
Okay.
They always start wandering off. You know, Murdoch. I was telling Artemis this lovely story. So my Albert, he met one of his grandfather's nieces who was a student of his sister's uncle, which would be his uncle, of course, but you know how half siblings and all that are. And so we were in line for food, and
As Sarah
the
goes
DM pulled me
on this-
aside.
I was willing to.
As Sarah starts trailing off on this, Snowmoon and Lydia immediately start. Snowmoon, you, as you're heading towards the town, start to hear hawkers. It sounds like a marketplace. And you hear hammer on metal. It sounds like there's smiths. You can hear all manner of work being done in here. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Okay. 15.
Oh, okay. Easy enough for you to start getting a little closer towards the market. You can just see, again, just dozens of gnomes. You are not seeing anyone, any other races around you. It seems like this establishment is entirely gnomes.
No one over 4 feet in this town.
And eventually, as you start getting up, start getting a little closer to it, And this rather looks to be a somewhat young individual starts to come up. Oh, hey, how you doing, mister? You're the first one we've had come in today. What are you looking for? We've got all man. We've got tinkerers shops. We have blacksmiths. We have arcanists. We have alchemists. We have artificers.
Okay.
Tinker people.
Ah,
We have everything. What you looking for?
okay,
And I can get you
so
there.
well, it's kind of bizarre. I'm not sure exactly who might be able to help with this, but I guess I'll just come right out with it. Did you see a goblin run through here recently? On fire? Engulfed in flames.
Goblin on? No, no, it hasn't been. You guys are the first ones here this morning.
Well, this would have been.
I'm sure we have something that could help you put a goblin on fire. Well, maybe not the blacksmith, but the arcanist can probably give you something to put a goblin on fire.
Okay, that actually might help. Maybe they might know a little about what happened. Could you point me in that direction?
And he points you over to a shop, and it, very sort of simple, like, looks to be, I guess I'll call it like a plaster-esque building. It's just a small circular building, very smooth, white walls. On top of it, sort of comes up, looks to be like a straw or a thatch style roof sort of comes up. So you're expecting it to come sort of straight up to a point, but it looks like it's sort of cocked off to one side a little bit. I point you over there. Oh, yeah, right over there. He should be able to help you out. So it's all manner of things that'll put goblins or other things on fire.
Okay, thanks for the help. And I'll turn in that direction and head towards the Arcanist.
Okay, so as you start heading over that way, we're going to jump back over to Furia for a second, as she sort of took off running and is crawling around the other outside of the forest. And as you've sort of made your way around there, Furia, you can see that you do actually see where the tracks come out on the other side of the forest. Just continue off, heading off in that same direction.
I'll run probably 100 feet following them and just see as far as I can if they're straight still or if they deviate.
So go ahead and make a perception check for me.
$16.
Okay, as far out as you can see, they seem to be heading in that same direction. You notice that it deviates a little bit. You see, one spot where there's like a slightly larger rock right in front of it. And you watch as it, does that little like bob around it and then just keeps going right along.
Seems to be set on a point and heading toward it.
Yeah,
sort of
basically
idea.
the same thing it did to you. Just dodges enough to get around the obstruction and then just keeps going.
Do I have the map on me or does somebody else have the map? Does it matter?
I actually have
'cause I
the
did-
map, I thought, because I was navigating stuff, but I did
Oh,
not
maybe.
know if you.
I do
or
remember
had it.
taking a really good look at the map.
Yeah.
If I bring it up either in my hand or my mind's eye, is there an area where I think that the map shows that this thing could be heading? Is there like a town or something like right in front of it?
Based on the direction you're seeing this head off to, you're really not sure. It's basically going to be heading just north of the Sunset Mountain. And there's really nothing north of there in terms of civilization. I mean, north of it's heading up into the Anarok Desert. So it's hard to say 100% whether or not it's heading there or whether or not it's hoping to reach something beyond the desert.
If I have the map with me, or I'll do this later, I guess, when we get back together, I'd like to sort of plot a dotted line where I think this guy was running on the map, just for future reference.
Okay. Definitely
sort of where
something
he
you can
was coming from and then where he was going. And then I'll run back to town. Because there's no point following him any further.
do. Easy enough to do. And Lydia, where would you have wandered off to as Snow Moon sort of headed into town?
Anywhere else.
Define anywhere else.
Let's
It's a big
go.
wide world out there.
Let's go a little northwest of where we parked and around the wall of the town a little, just to scout outside the walls.
Sure. So
Not
is,
scout out, even just look at it.
yeah, no worries. So as you start heading north in the town, and again, you're seeing a lot of the sort of very similar things to what you all noticed coming up to it. It's just looks like a very sort of decent town, but you do notice that there are in the northern part of town what looks to be some very well-built stone buildings. It seems to be a little out of place given the aesthetic of the town.
Stone cutting. But those are nice buildings.
As you say that, popping around the corner, there's a slightly looks to be a slightly older gnome. Little sort of a reddish brown beard, little bits of white and gray starting to show him points on it. Here we go. Oh, no, those are our storehouses. That's where we hold all our goods.
Oh, nice. They're lovely looking, really. What's your name?
Oh, we had a lovely
Sorry.
one of the original. I suppose supporters of here. Alderman Itchworm, a very powerful wizard, had put wards on those walls to protect our goods and storage.
Nice.
I'm sorry, my dear. You wanted to ask me something, and I interrupted you.
Oh, no, it's okay. I just wanted to say that you have very nice buildings around here. A very quaint town. Very quaint.
It's rather small for us all, but we do quite a bit of work here.
Your thoughts on burning things?
What are you looking to burn, lumber?
No, more like a goblin. And I'm not looking to burn it. I just wanted to know what you thought of burning goblins on fire.
So I suppose the gods might use fire if they were to attack?
Do you have a lot of goblins in this area?
Not really.
Not really, I see.
We have some. We have people who go missing occasionally, but if you're looking to, if we have some out in front of the tavern, there's some information on. Some of us have. I personally have 12 children, and they have sort of meandered a ways. And as we are in touch with in different places, as people go missing other gnomes, we try to help each other when we can. There's lists of people who have gone missing or problems.
Okay. I'll go take a look. Thank you, good sir.
There's a little nod. And we'll flash back over to Murdoch and Sarah. Is Sarah still going on her tear with Murdoch, or is Murdoch taking over?
Until you say something else, I'm gonna keep talking.
It sounds like he has a very, very extensive family. How come you did not keep in contact with any of them after he passed?
Well, things change when people pass. And
Do they know?
DM, are we gonna have to retcon anything? Because I have an answer.
I keep
don't
doing
know.
it to you.
I don't know whether or not you told them or anything. This is all Sarah right now.
They know how much they know, which is an amount that they know.
Have you spoken to them since?
Oh, the candles! And I'm gonna go to a store
Murder.
front.
Murdoch kind of like lifts her head up and she goes, mm-hmm.
So, as Sarah starts running, we're going to jump over to Artemis. What would you be doing, Artemis?
Coming back into my body from listening to that. I mean, she did want to know a question about me, and then that happened. I don't know much about my family. Oh boy. Murdoch, are you interested in going to check out this small town? Small town.
Well,
Rome.
well, I'm honestly quite an agreeable person. How about you? Do you want to explore this town? Are you asking me, hoping that I'll say yes because you actually want to, but you don't want to tell me that you want to?
No, I'm actually kind of feeling alright today. Now that I've gotten over my near-death experience, I think I'm kind of like okay today.
Good. I would love to look around. It seems that they might have, if not information about flaming goblins, they actually might have what I was hoping to find in Baldur's Gate for you. Here.
Oh, the spell thing. The spell for the me. I see.
It seems that they have quite a few interesting machinations here. I was wondering if perhaps... I'm going to be entirely honest. I'm not incredibly interested in the Flaming Goblin. That's just me being honest, because I don't like to lie, so I'll be honest. I'm not super interested. However, I would be interested if there was a scroll scrivener here of a sort. You could get some new spells, and perhaps I could get some myself. Including, hopefully, a spell that would help us decipher some of this text. That is what I'm very interested in.
Well then, I guess we'll be on our way as well.
Sarah, are you good looking at the candles, or would you like to stay and continue to talk with me?
We can do both. Artemis, you like candles, right? This helps with magic.
We were going to go see if
They
there was perhaps
do.
someone that could make some spell scrolls. She says a little bit louder for anyone that may be listening.
And you
Because
hear
we have all that coin.
that same tiny little person who just said Snow Moon on the way comes running going, oh, you want... Oh, the Arcanist is going to be busy today. Points over to that same building.
Oh, is that where you just directed our wonderful large armored friend to?
Oh, yes.
Perfect. Everything is coming up, Murdoch.
So as you guys start heading that way, Fury's starting to head their way back. Lydia's heading on the outside. We're going to jump inside to Snow Moon. So Snow Moon, as you walk inside, you see again, facing to your back, individual wearing what looks to be almost a royal blue robe. Hood pulled up back over the head. Hearing as the door opens, that little sort of bell chimes, and they turn around. Looks to be you would guess a younger female. Almost a platinum blonde hair sort of pulled down in some sort of a braid hanging down in front of her. Looks up at you. Yes. Hello, we don't get many of your kind in here.
Oh,
You're
yes,
so metal.
yes,
Are
it's
you
just,
looking for the smith?
No, I'm not looking for the smith. I recently encountered a sort of magical fire, and another citizen here said that you might be the one to know more about it.
There's many types of magical flame, and she sort of gestures over at a small section on the wall, and you just watch as she makes a gesture with her hand, and a little mote of fire slams into the wall, and just light sparks. And I am a gifted caster, and am able to summon forth flames if needed. But what do you...
Well, so I encountered this flame that could not be extinguished, and it was actually, this person was engulfed in flames.
Oh my. This is rather a new one.
Is
I
this
have heard
like...
of spells capable of shrouding one in flames, but I have not met any capable of casting the incantation yet. What
Okay,
is
so
this?
you...
How badly was the creature killed?
No, that's the strange part. Not only were they not killed, but they didn't even seem to burn at all. Or they seemed to not even be in any sort of discomfort. It was quite strange.
Perhaps my understanding of the spell is in error. Perhaps it is a protective sort of enchantment, rather than something to... I always assumed that when you... Assuming one was to do it to you, if I was to shroud you in flames, it would be to... in an aggressive sort.
Yes, I'm at a loss as well. I was just trying to... So you think it's a spell and it's not some sort of potion, or...
No, I'm unfamiliar with any sort of beverage that would do something like that. About the time you hear the same little tinkling of the bell, is a couple of your friends are now coming up behind you. Oh my, I am rather busy. I'll be with you just a few moments. Looks over and sees Murdoch, and then the two... My, we're just all sorts in here today.
We are members of the same party, sir, if that's all right.
Sir? She looks down a little like...
Sorry, that's me. That's Ink. That's Ink looking at Matthew and saying, "Sir, that's a baddie. That's bad. That's me." Bam, bam. Murdoch would never do something. As someone who dresses wonderfully androgyny, wonderfully androgynously. Should have said man. That's my thought.
She just looks over and goes, "Well, yes, and you see, as you say, you're all with the same group. She almost looks like she's a little sad at first. So I assume you're here for the flaming goblin as well."
I might be here to spend I might be here to spend coin.
Oh, and she you watch no one, and she have a talk with you. entire body
Oh
turns all the water face Murdoch.
But continue talking. But continue talking to Snow Moon. I didn't mean to interrupt. He's very nice.
Unfortunately, there isn't much I can say, as I was telling your rather mechanical friend here that it's all metal. We don't get many metal people in this particular establishment.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yes, he's.
But as I was telling him, I've heard of spells that are supposed to shroud things, but I've never seen one cast, and I've always assumed of it as an attack, not a defensive measure. But no, I've never seen a potion or anything of the like that could do it either.
And in rapturing yourself in flames to protect oneself instead of hurting someone else?
Well, correct. If you were to approach me and try to stab me, would you really come close to me if I was completely enveloped in flame?
No.
So defense would be functional. Based on your rather large friend here saying that it did not die from being boiled alive, one would assume.
Curiouser and curiouser. Wonderful work, Snow Moon. You've located the perfect person to talk to. Well done! Once again.
She looks down a little and you can see her slight tinge of blush to her cheeks.
Where is Fairy and Lydia? Where have they been off to? They should probably be here.
Let us find out.
I'm running on my way back, so yeah.
At this point, you're probably back to the sides of the village, and everyone's gone. The cart's empty.
Yeah, so I'm assuming they went into town, so I'm going to wander in, look around. I mean, they're probably easy to spot if they're outside.
They all walk into a bar.
As you start heading in, you don't notice any of them. You do actually catch a glimpse of Lydia, who seems to be off in the distance a little ways having a short conversation with, looks to be a reddish-haired gnome.
Do I see the welcome gnome that's been directing people?
Coming from your side, actually you probably would see them. They're just a little ways off from you, and they're looking more sort of out towards the tradeway, or you're coming from the other side. They're not paying as much attention coming from the back end.
Well, seeing as how he's alone, I'd probably ask the burning gnome or goblin question to him as well.
And as you ask,
flag him down.
No, as I told the other one, go speak to the Arcanist. There's the building. Oh, she'd better be giving me a raise.
Thank you very much. I hand them a silver, and I make my way over to the building.
It's going to be a bit of a wait. It's busy in there.
Oh dear, there's not much room in here, is there? They pile in as well.
Yeah, how high is the ceiling in this place?
All of the
I was wondering the
actually
same
made,
thing.
They're actually made large enough in terms of the stores. As you're looking at some of the other ones, and that's why you're noticing this section has sort of arched roof, whereas a lot of the other smaller buildings are strictly gnome-sized. But it seems like they do a lot of trade coming from the tradeway, so I've made establishments that would allow for that. And Lydia, what would you be doing as you're sort of talking with this individual outside about the buildings and whatnot? Would you be looking for the rest of your group, wandering off somewhere different, unmuting yourself before speaking?
I'd be looking for the notice board with the names on it.
Oh, okay.
If the fellow mentioned it, and then I'd be looking for my companions as well.
So as you head over to where he sort of pointed it for the notice board, go ahead and make an investigation check for me.
Given the time, I might use my damn inspiration because I'm not very good. Oh, yes, I am. My inspiration. Yes! Okay, that's 16
Okay.
instead of 3. So thank you, chat.
As you're looking at, and just in case you missed the chat earlier, Furia, you have a luck point that I threw in, mentioned in chat, mentioned in the Discord chat that chat gave you.
Excellent, thank you. Whoever gave that to me.
As you're looking at the board, you see an individual that looks a little bit like art. Slightly older, slightly more aged appearance to the face. And as you're looking at it, it says missing/kidnapped. Bartholomew.
I'm gonna take
Artemis.
down from the notice board and run around town going, hello? Is anyone there? It's me, Lydia. Actually, can't. No, I'd probably do that. I've got messages. I couldn't message them where they were, but I'd probably just run onto town like, hello? Where are you? Where did you go?
As you're running around, after a couple of seconds, a random gnome started, what seems to be the problem? Just running around like a crazy person.
I am well, no, let me rephrase that. I'm just lost. Missing my party. They're all, well, some of them are tall, some of them are smaller.
Did you come in from the tradeway?
Yes.
Okay. Go that way, and points back towards where you guys left the carriage.
Okay.
There's a young boy there who tends to give directions.
Yes!
If any big people came through, they would be able to tell you where they went.
Right,
assuming they didn't run away from a gnome.
True. Alright, thank
Stop
you!
running around like a lunatic or the guards are going to lock you up, and it's not made for someone your size.
Also true. Thank you. Now, walk quickly, but not run towards the young lad. And
eventually, it only takes you a few moments to get there, and again, very sort of exasperated at this point. Points you to the Arcanist, shows you to the building.
I'll flip him a coin. Silver.
Puts it in his pocket. And then as you start heading that direction, I will jump back into the shop with everyone else who's already in there. As this young woman is now looking at the group of the 5 of you who are currently present.
Oh, and the biggest one is yet to come.
Yee!
Thump, 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 thump. Marshy.
Marshy! Go to Foxy Lord!
As eventually, she looks at the group of you. Well, is there anything else that I can assist you with? I'm sorry I don't know more about this strange burning creature.
What did we figure out? What did you guys figure out?
Not a whole lot. Maybe that the fire was some kind of defensive spell. Does that sound like anything you've heard before?
I mean, it wasn't affecting the goblin in any way, so that makes sense.
And you said you could feel the heat when you got closer to the goblin, right?
Yeah, I tried to stop the goblin, and it sort of ran around me, like under my arm, and it was definitely very hot. Singed a bit of my cloak.
So the defensiveness does make sense.
But what is this? Do you need your mouth to do magic?
I've had an idea. I have an idea, and it's not wise to say it here. And I think Murdoch can confirm what I've been thinking, but it might have been mentioned in that book you translated for us. and I'm wondering if he was a transportation agent, if you'll catch my drift. Because he kept going right through the woods, and from my memory of the map, it doesn't look like there's anywhere place specifically that he's heading if he keeps going straight. He's heading towards the desert. Anyway,
I think all of that is very true for you. Or very likely. But we are guests, Kurt.
Yes, and I don't want to say more, just in case.
Madam, you have already been a wonderful help to my party. I was hoping, perhaps, do you know of someone, or are you capable of, scribing spell scrolls for coin?
I don't typically scribe them very often, but I do have some available for sale.
That may also be of help. I'm looking for a very relatively simple spell.
Okay, what exactly are you seeking?
A spell of comprehend languages.
Oh, well, bear with me a moment. Let me run back to the stockroom and see what I have. He sort of turns her back on the group of you and, moves a curtain aside and sort of steps in back. About this time, you hear the bell ring again. And as you turn, right behind Furia appears Lydia, who, now Lydia being at her height, her head is probably sort of brushing the ceiling at this point.
We all squish in farther into the...
Art!
Hello, Lydia!
Art!
It's a clown car.
Art!
Yes.
This! And I hold up the crumpled paper and smooth it out and shout to her, shaking it in their face, going, It's one of your kid, I think.
That's a weird way to say that, but that
It does bear a striking resemblance.
look like me, sorta. Can I have that for a moment?
Of course.
Is,
Do you
is-
think we
is that
should
your
ask?
what?
Do you think we should ask about them? Or do you want to keep it?
Do I?
Art, isn't one of your names Bartholomew? Blah, blah, blah.
Something like that, yes.
Artemis Bartimus.
Artemis. Bartholomew. Do I recognize this, like, as mother or father, or is it?
As you're looking at it, and as you're starting to read over it, the image at the top that Lydia saw that looks like you is actually from the person who posted the want, I guess we'll call it the ad or the notice. It appear as you're looking at the image, it does appear to be your father. There is about a half a paragraph underneath it that specifies that his wife has been taken. Now, mind you, as you're looking at this, the missing section at the top is in common. Everything underneath this is in Gnomish. And it specifies wife has been taken. Group is forcing me to work for them. If I do not complete tasks, they will kill her. Please help. Reward offered.
Artemis is your father missing?
No.
Oh, well,
No,
that's
my-
good.
No. He was sorta, kinda on the island, you know. But this is different. Um. Hmm.
Is it for you? Artemis? Artemis, did you not tell your father where you were going?
No, I didn't, but he kind of. Despite my nature, he usually is fine with me coming and going as I want. Um. This is about my mother.
Your mom's missing?
I guess. I. She just kind of left one day, but I guess. Taken would be a better word for it.
It
I
says
didn't-
missing space. Kidnapped.
Yeah.
Artemis. If your mother has been taken somewhere, this is unacceptable.
Of course it is. Is there anything we can do to get her back?
But it doesn't really say who is.
This
Has
is a whole
taken
town
her.
of people. I'm sure somebody will know more details.
I guess.
I guess the better
Should
question
we
is, do you want
ask-
to rescue her?
Of course.
You just seem so uncertain.
Uncertain, yeah. I don't really like talking about it here in the shop with the person we don't know. I suppose they're kind of in the back of the shop.
About that time, she comes walking back through.
Oh, farts.
Well, Art, we have a couple of things to talk about then. Maybe back at the carriage?
I suppose so.
Do you want to step out?
Yes.
I can do the business with this woman. Furia, why don't you and Art maybe go out to the cart?
Of course. I'll shuffle my way through the crowd of people.
It's also
Open the door
very
for
crowded.
Art.
It's very crowded. Here, hold on,
Lydia,
let me
you-
just
you-
get
lower your head. Lower.
I'll leave too. I'll step
Oh,
out.
okay.
So eventually, the three of them step out, leaving that, and as the young woman watches that and looks up to her, I did in fact have that scroll, and she sort of sets it down on the counter. I grabbed a few others that I had laying in back. I'm not sure some of these are rather elementary. Some are a little bit stronger that I had, peppered around. But figured if you expressed interest in one, you may want more.
Of course.
So we have
Keep on
this
like
one.
checking the door.
This one here is the comprehend languages. I'm assuming you want that. I also have this here, and pulls out another one. This is a rather convenient one should you ever fall. It's called Feather Fall. Enables you to slow your rate of descent. Sets it down to the side.
That
Also
may
have-
be good. It's in case we don't have Furia and she doesn't want to turn into a spider at the time. It may be a good idea.
I have this one here. It's a. She looks around almost like conspiratorially a little bit. Some people feel this is a dark magic, some not so much. It's called a gentle repose. It allows you to basically halt the. I suppose I'll call it the timer on a person's death. Can mean it may enable a cleric to raise them if you were to cast it on someone soon enough. But it may not require quite as strong of a cleric to bring them back.
You just see Sarah's face get higher.
And then the last one that I have prepared currently is called not sure if I want to part with this one. But, well, I told you I'd tell you about them. This one is called Wall of Water. Allows you to create essentially just a massive wall of water. Can be up to 30 feet long, 10 feet high, and up to a foot thick. Or you could make a massive circular wall, 20 foot round.
I see.
That one's good. That one's good too.
And that would be all. That's all of them.
That's all that I have prepared. It's most of when people are coming in here, they're looking for small, smaller things. But
Madam, I'll take the lot.
she looks at okay, that's
If you would be I know you said that you were not sure if you were going to part with that last one.
shall we say that a friend did seem rather distraught. I hope everything's okay, nothing I said, but shall we do 500 for the lot?
500 for all four. And the information that you were able to provide to us, I think that is completely reasonable, madam. I would love to do business, yes.
It is appreciated then.
I will give you...
She hands over the scrolls to you and collects the coin.
Thank you. And they all just go right into my... I have, on my briefcase, I have a little side pocket. They just... Is there anything that either of you two wanted to peruse? I'm sure that the madam has plenty of wonderful magical machinations. How many M's can I put in a sentence?
Many.
Or many. Or should we go see how the rest of our group fares?
I'm ready to go whenever you are.
Is there any, like, little candles, like tea lights, almost?
Oh.
She's got a couple of smaller candles. Looks like some of them are. She's got like one small section that's like, we'll call them half burnts. Like they're look like they're regular candles, but they look like they've been used down somewhat. That she's got marked down to like a discount bin for 2 copper each.
Do I see one that is pink?
Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Okay. I like how you were about to roll.
Like,
that's gonna be a dirty 20.
okay. Yeah, you see when it's a little bit more of a pale pink than... It doesn't quite have the quite shock of pink that Art's hair is, but it does have a slight pink hue to it.
This as well.
So, you can just have that along. We'll include it in the bunch.
Oh, you're a dear. I pull a cinnamon cookie out and put it on the counter. Enjoy.
Thank you. And picks it up and turns back, and as the group of you start heading out, she goes back to whatever she had been doing with her back turned to the group of you. As you guys are finishing up, we're going to actually pan outside to our other 3. As Furia has led Artemis out and Lydia followed right behind.
Yeah, I'm heading back to the carriage outside of town.
Art, Lydia?
Me too.
Walking Art's pace, because I'm assuming we're both quicker than they are. I'm not going to say anything on the way to the cart. Just get in there. And once we hop inside, just...
And you're going along right back to the carriage?
Yeah, I would just be looking kind of at the paper. Kind of just toddling my way back to the carriage, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. As you're looking at it, you can see the whoever did the artwork. You can see the more of a scruff to the facial hair than you're used to seeing your father. Looks doesn't look as well kept as you remember. Or at least that's how the artist this artist's rendition has him looking.
Do we do we pass by that person who was directing all of us to that one shop?
You do eventually. They're a little ways ahead of you right now, given your pace and you're focused on this. But yeah, you will be past them.
Okay. When we go past, I I am gonna like, since they're just like right in my way, basically I'll like kind of like hold the paper out to them and be like, "Do you know anything about this?"
As you know. Oh, no. But if you go at the okay, if you head up towards the north a little bit, you're gonna see a older gentleman, sort of reddish beard. He's been here long because he's got family all over the place.
I talked to
basically
him.
is-
He was so nice.
As his kids hear about people who've gone missing or things happen to other gnomes, he has them funnel information back to him and sort of clicks it and shares it out with his other kids, so it's not just that one individual trying it. He gets it sent out. Anything that you're seeing on this board, it is out there in I think he says he's got it in 7 other cities. He's got kids that are willing to work with it and put it up there.
That's
Now,
really impressive, actually.
it's like
Oh.
the secret gnome network.
That's pretty cool.
Because, gotta stick together.
That is really cool. Aren't you want to go talk to this man?
He was really nice.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yes.
I'll take Art's
All right,
hand.
let's go.
If Art will let me take their hand, I'll take their hand and lead Art to the nice man because Art seems so dazed just to guide Art a little.
Wait, isn't Art always sort of dazed?
Art is always a little dazed, but this is more than usual.
You know what? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess I suppose you're right. Maybe it's a wizard thing.
It's a wizard's
All of that
thing.
powerful magic, you gotta sort of focus on that instead of what's going on around you.
No.
Maybe that's why they're such good a wizard.
A lot of trauma. Yeah, I'll let Lydia just kind of like basically pull me along.
Okay. So eventually, you start getting sort of almost half dragged along, and as you start getting closer, you can see, again, you're walking up behind this individual, and you can see the sort of, like, upkept, bushy sort of red hair, up towards the back a little bit. And as you get a little closer, you can tell this person can hear the couple of you walking up. And start to turn around. Looks like he's got looks like a small, like a woodwork, almost like a woodworking hammer, but also looks like some sort of chisel in his hand. As he turns and sees the two you won't go and looks up at Lydia again and looks down at you, Art. The hammer and the chisel drop. And as the group of you notices the eyes go wide, he goes, Artemis?
That's me.
And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh my god.
As this strange individual that spoke with Lydia appears to know Artemis.
And I got the red hair map.
Grandpa
I know
Ted?
who he is. So.
Oh dear God, no! I'm not that heartless.
Oh, good. I thought that he was. Oh my god! I thought he was like Moby's like dad or something. I was
Oh,
gonna like throw you out a window.
no, that's
Uncle Jeremiah?
All gnomes live in this town.
Oh my god! I thought you were missing that.
quite literally. For those who don't know Faerun and in this town, it is literally 2,000 gnomes. That's it.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
There is not a single non-gnome resident of this town.
Oh wow.
So, yes, make sure to tune in next week.
Oh my goodness gracious.
We're gonna save your mom. We're gonna save your mom so hard.
And you guys didn't want to follow after that burning
know.
goblin. And look where we are now.
Okay, you told
Say it. No. You know what, Furia? Say it.
Go ahead.
out
and-
loud.
I told you so.
There we go.
So there you go, folks. You are not waiting a week for the I told you so. That came right at the end of this one. We will be back again next week. Yeah, so don't forget, folks, if there's a strange flaming goblin running by, it may be something random or it may be a sign. Who knows? But when you're looking at it, having discussions, don't forget your proficiency bonus. See you all next week to find out how art makes out.
Bye.
Weirdest sign I've ever seen.